Hi, this is the Mid-Atlantic Insider, and we're back from our break, and I'm Ken, your host, along with my co-host.
Jason Creation, how's everybody doing today?
And I'm Jeff Melton. Good afternoon. Good to see everybody.
Jeff was our correspondent at the PWX show that had AJ Styles last week, and he's going to help us out on occasion. And Jeff, before we talk about that show later on and get started, why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's great to be here with everybody. Pro wrestling fan for over 25 years and have worked several shows in the Mid-Atlantic area, refereeing for different and various promotions.
Great, exciting. Always exciting to have somebody else's insight. The first thing that we're going to discuss today is I was looking for material for the show, and I was having trouble digging up stuff for our normal segments. So one of the things that I noticed was that Lou Marconi, a guy who we've all worked on shows with at one point or another, who we've all seen the video of him on YouTube in the squash match from when he was just a young baby on the WWE circuit and getting absolutely housed by the Snowden SWAT team, and then he went off and did a few stints with ECW, and then he was in the Ohio Valley independent scene for a while, and now he is been in Raleigh for the last 2 years or so, I believe, and he's a very a good guy, class act, a fun guy to work with, and I noticed the other day that he was number 6 on the NWA Worldwide Rankings, and
wow, number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6.
And there's just some impressive names on that list as well. And obviously Rob Conway is currently the champ. There's some rumblings that this week he'd lost the belt in Japan. As of this morning, NWA still had him ranked as the champion, but Jeff, you were telling me that their number 3 guy, Jax Dane, is an up-and-coming star. Can you tell us something about that as well?
Sure, Kenny. Jax Dane, huge personality. He and Rob Conway have been touring Japan the last few weeks and have recently won tag team titles over in Japan. Jax Dane really looks like he's starting to get that big push and momentum to move to the top of the NWA rankings. I would suspect probably by the end of the year he'll be in serious contention for that NWA World Championship title.
Are they touring with All Japan Pro, or is it a bunch of different affiliates?
I believe it's New Japan Pro Wrestling that they're working with, and they've been over there. Rob Conway has been over there before, and now they're back touring currently right now on a 3-week stretch, I believe.
So then number 4 is Matt Morgan, and then number 5 is Michael Tarver, an old Nexus person, and then Lou Marconi, and then Charlie Haas, and Damian Wayne, who, just like Lou, had a cup of coffee with the WWE, and has also wrestled for Ring of Honor and TNA, and does the North Carolina, Virginia circuit, and is very familiar on I believe he holds a couple of tag team titles and was in contention for the NWA World title last year, I believe. But it's just an impressive list, and we wanted to congratulate Lou on, I believe he just went to back to Ohio for a title defense of, I think he was the Eastern States champion, and that's a title that I believe they were defending on WCW at one point back in the day. But anyway, my point is that, I started thinking, and this is a question I want to throw out to you guys. I started thinking with only one company being predominant right now in WWE, and TNA dispersing talent for budget reasons and quite possibly their ultimate demise at one point in the near future, the way things have worked out. Are we seeing a return of the territories? Are we seeing possibly NWA slip into that 2nd and 3rd spot as far as what's the most prominent company? It's been WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor, and we've discussed the last couple of weeks how Ring of Honor is maybe getting ready to leapfrog TNA, and is NWA pulling itself into discussions now after almost a 20-year hiatus. And is this number 6 ranking for our local product, Blue Marconi? Is it maybe hold more credentials than maybe it did a few years ago? So I'm just going to throw that out to you guys and see what you think.
Personally, I don't think so because of the fact WWE is so huge. You understand where I'm coming from? Can these guys really compete? You know, even though you say a territory level, can they really compete, you know, even in the mainstream? Does that make sense? What's your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Well, I think when you talk about the NWA and the independent scene, along with following what is going on with TNA, I think with the potential demise of TNA, it opens up a golden opportunity for some franchises to step up and to acquire that name talent that it takes to get to that next level. If somebody can get AJ Styles, or rumored to be soon Christopher Daniels, put that name on the marquee, build a foundation, they're going to stand a great chance to survive.
And there's guys that the WWE, and my disagreement with you is that the WWE is almost an entertainment machine at this point, movies, and they've reached such a status that I don't think anybody ever imagined as a wrestling company, and they've even moved away from the idea of being a wrestling company themselves, that I think it actually opens the opportunity for maybe not the territories the way they were, but certainly some sort of idea of territories. And I think when you have guys like Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles and the Hardy Boys as free agents, they're going to be, you know, quote unquote, the impact player, the stud or the franchise of those smaller companies. And I think it's going to help them put them on the market, and maybe we might see some indie shows that with, you know, more than 10, 20, 30, 40, or even, you know, or even 100, upwards to a couple hundred people now.
Well, I just disagree for the fact that, yeah, you got the territories. They're going to run the territories on an indie level. You know, they're not going to be able to, like Jeff said, with that solid foundation, you know, of Christopher Daniels or whoever. Can they really take Christopher Daniels or somebody like that and push them to the level and promote them and advertise them like WWE does? Does that make sense?
Well, I think when you look at the different levels of independent wrestling also, you almost have sort of a territorial promotion going on now anyways. You have PWX running in North Carolina, Ring of Honor in the Northeast, you have PWG in California, and they are all going to benefit if TNA falters or goes into demise, getting that talent or being able to find those new fans to their product.
And that was going to be my counter argument to what you said, is that, you know, I agreed with you to a point, and I would have agreed with you to a much larger point a few months ago about how, you know, Jim Crockett and about how all those guys, who was Charlie, not Charlie Watts, that's the guy from Rolling Stones, who's the Watts guy who ran, Bill Watts. Bill Watts, you know, they had marketable TV shows that did well, that really exposed people to a national level, and it started out regional. And the reason I mention this is PWX went from being viewed strictly in Charlotte recently to this week expanding to the Triad PWX on CW20.
What I mean, I've been following PWX a little bit, you know, and I know you know a lot more about them, Jeff, than I do, but the rumor has it that they're going to be running High Point soon. Have you heard anything about that, or can you give us some insight?
PWX has recently stated, as early as last week, that by the end of the year they plan on running High Point, Winston-Salem, Charlotte, Concord, Wilmington, and other areas up and down the coast of North and South Carolina, along with Raleigh.
See, I mean, I think there is potential for us to see, you know, more substantial companies making an impact, and maybe it's like we talked about last week, that lack of competition that's opening up. I mean, When certain companies were going under, I know when I was working with a company, we were excited because it's a natural cause. When one company or one system goes down, there's kind of a vacuum, and you're able to suck up their talent as well as their fans and audience. We're gonna take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. I'm gonna come back, and Jeff's gonna tell us about the PWX show with AJ Styles and Cedric Alexander at Ziggy's in Winston-Salem. First-hand information about what we hear was a show that literally tore the house down. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.
I just wanna be better, better than the rest. I wanna be great, I just wanna be the best. I know I wanna be better, better than the rest. I wanna be great, I just wanna be the best. I know I just wanna be better, better than the rest. I wanna be great, I just wanna be the best. I spit like the poison from the tongue of a serpent. If you want respect, then you niggas.
So we're back, and we're going to turn the tables to Jeff and hear about the PWX show.
I just have a question here. I noticed on the NWA rankings, Matt Morgan's ranked number 4th. I haven't heard a lot from him lately. Jeff, have you heard anything or seen Matt Morgan?
He was in Florida, right?
Yeah, I just recently read on Twitter that he announced his retirement. He's got a great full-time job in the medical industry and is expanding his family, and he's looking forward to it very much.
What is he doing in the medical industry, you know?
Distribution of medical supplies. That's what I've read.
How do you sell medical supplies with a stutter?
I really don't know, but it's interesting. Maybe
flashcards.
Well, real quick, Jeff's going to tell us about the exciting show at Winston-Salem that we were both disappointed that we missed, but unfortunately, sometimes life takes hold, and you know you have to move on. So anyway, why don't you tell us about how the show went?
Sure, Kenny. Had a great time last Sunday. It's the PWX debut at Ziggy's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Pulled up to the parking lot. Tremendous lines out of the venue already. Estimated attendance was at 550 for this show. The headliner, of course, was AJ Styles, making his debut in PWX after leaving TNA, facing Cedric Alexander, who is quite the North Carolina indie talent and currently working with Ring of Honor. Those two tore it down, absolutely. Everybody in the last few minutes of their exchange was up on their feet, literally. And even though AJ Styles was able to overcome Cedric Alexander, after that match, Cedric Alexander had a standing ovation and a cheer of next world champ coming at him. So those two put on a great exhibition, a great match.
Wow,
and
nice.
it's really a privilege to be a part of that show and to be able to be there front row watching it go
Well,
on.
I've seen Cedric, come up in different indie promotions, and I always thought, what a phenomenal talent, he is. So, seeing him get that ovation right now, when you experienced it, I didn't, but that's really good for a kind of young
It's
guy.
great for him. I was there ringside. I could tell you that it did appear that he was in tears, very touched and very humbled at the opportunity to step into the ring with AJ Styles as they put together what should already be an early contender for Match of the Year in the state of North Carolina for 2014.
That was the main event, correct?
Yes, it was.
Can you touch on a few other matches still out there for us?
But before you do that, do you mind if you just, were there any spots that stick out that you can give an accurate description of real quick that you were kind of blown away with?
AJ Styles, Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
Lots of work on the top turnbuckle, superplexes, reverse superplexes that they went through.
Wow.
Great exchange. It opened up mostly as a pure wrestling match, and then throughout the match they progressed to dives to the outside and top rope spots, and eventually, through interference in the match by Country Jack, which is Adam Page and Corey Hollis,
Right.
AJ Styles gained the upper hand and landed the Styles Clash on Cedric for the 1-2-3.
Was AJ Styles going heel and Cedric was face?
They were both faces, dueling chants throughout the whole 30-minute match. Let's go AJ, let's go Cedric. The crowd of over 550 was very focal
Split.
and split straight down the middle for both of these gentlemen.
So Adam Page, is he,
In PWX,
are they heel?
he is heel.
Wow.
And it's new for him. Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and Luke Doc Gallows, formerly of TNA.
I know he's such a ladies' man. I never thought of him being heel. I know. You know.
He's a heel and still gets the majority of the cheers.
Was your wife there with you?
Crystal was there, and that's the only way that I can get her to a show is if Adam Page is on there. And I've told Adam, he knows, but he's a great guy. But in PWX, he has turned and started working the heel persona, and they're doing a pretty good job at it.
What was the question you had asked me about? You want to know what other matches stuck out?
Yeah, what other matches stuck out as far as, maybe mid-card, first, second match? I mean, how did they portray it?
Okay, well, the first match was actually Lodi, former WCW star. He faced off with CWF Mid-Atlantic's own Andrew Everett, and they had a great exchange that eventually Lodi pulled out.
I actually just saw pictures. I was just on Facebook today looking at the pictures of that match.
Andrew Everett is phenomenal.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him next because he is just a rising star and obviously should have a few minutes that we should discuss about him.
Yeah, and after that, the second match was actually Ring of Honor's own Michael Elgin versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh.
And talk about a strict difference of wrestling styles. Kyle O'Reilly basically working every single submission maneuver in the book to try to counter-maneuver the pure strength and power of Michael Elgin. Eventually, Elgin won, but it was a great display.
We just discussed Michael Elgin last week, and I was saying how he's surprisingly agile for such a kind of short, stocky kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Creation that at first glance, he doesn't have a great look. He's got that bad mullet. He's kind of going bald up top. He's he's built in a more awkward shape than your classical 6'4" WWE prototype. And but he is the more I see him in the ring, the more I'm impressed.
He's grown exponentially over the last few years in his matches. He's pushing towards that upper tier of Ring of Honor, future world champ in my opinion. And I don't know, maybe he gained strength from that moment.
Well, Jeff, I got a question. What was some negatives on the show? Did you find anything that was bad or that they could have worked on and got better?
Well, some of the negatives I've heard, I think, had to do with, on the part of Siggy's, anytime you run a wrestling show the first time, there's always a learning process. They had mentioned to me that staffing at Siggy's, that they thought that PWX had actually oversold the place. And there's quite a few standing up, not having those seats and chairs, but I was assured that by the next time they'll have that worked out. But always whenever a venue has wrestling for the first time, there's always going to be a few growing pains in that process.
So was the staff kind of upset because they couldn't really take total control like they needed to, or?
I think so. I think there was some confusion definitely on the ticket sales, confusion with general admission seating. They also had mentioned to me up at the bar that they weren't selling as much liquor as they had hoped to.
Well, we're talking wrestling fans.
God, you'd think, because when I go to a show, man, I think nothing helps me get involved more than a few beers. And that was my next question. But every time we've run a show, we've always been disappointed with sales at the various places. But that was actually my question. How much was a beer?
I paid $6 a bottle.
$6 for a 12-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
All right,
Wow.
interesting.
I got the Corona with the lime, though, so
Okay.
that lime's worth a good 50
I was just
cents.
saying, was the lime $2?
I mean, really? $6.
I mean, I'm from the Hamptons, up on Long Island, and $6 is expensive for the Hamptons.
Well, I think next time we're looking at BYOB in the parking lot.
Well, you get a
if we
16
don't get
ounce.
caught.
You always got a pregame.
You get a 16 ounce at the Greensboro Coliseum for $8. You know?
Well, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just happy to be able to get a beer at a wrestling match. So many of these don't, so many places that we see these indie shows aren't capable. You can't get a beer at a high school. You can't get a beer at a lot of these places. So I'll suck it up, and like we said, pre-gaming is essential from now on, I guess, when we before we go to Ziggy's. But
I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to another break. And here's a quick word from our sponsors at the Wassa Wassa.
Big and beautiful, a little chubby, a little more to love. That's why they call them love handles. You could be a model, one of them plus size models, baby. So what, you love food? So what, you waddle? So what, you take up more space than other people next to you? It's 'cause you're big and beautiful. True beauty comes from the inside. Who cares if you happen to have some extremely big thighs? And who cares if you happen to have an extremely big waist, big shoulders, big arms, big stomach, and big legs? That's just the way the good Lord made you. I'd like to call it thick, 'cause it doesn't sound as bad as somebody saying she's fat as shit. That's not appropriate. Don't listen when they make fun of you and make stupid jokes like she looks like that walrus at the fucking zoo. It's not true, baby. They all just lie. So relax, sit down and finish the rest of them cheeseburgers and chocolate pie. And if they stare at you while you eat, don't pay attention. Relax, chill, I'll go get you a refill. I'm the beverage, yeah. See, with you there's more to love, literally. Be proud of the way you look and who you've become. You're perfect. You don't need to go on a diet. What's the purpose? Forget your stereotypical prettiness bullshit that's only on the surface. You're big and beautiful, a little chubby, a little more to love. That's why they call them love handles. You could be a model, one of them plus size models, baby. So what, you love food? So what, you waddle? So what, you take up more space?
hi, welcome back to the Mid-Atlantic Insider. We just wanted to close out our show and thank Jeff for stopping by today.
Thank you.
And we just wanted to make an announcement that we are in the process of putting together a show for the Chapel Hill area in early May, so people look out for details on that. We also wanted to make an announcement that if you were interested in training to become a professional wrestler, contact Ray Perez at the Wassa Wassa show and come train at the facilities in Jamestown, and that's where we film our show. We wanted to thank them for giving us the facilities and letting us use the studio. And so if you're interested in training, if you're a professional wrestler or interested in investigating it for the first time, contact Ray Perez on the Wassa Wassa channel, and you can talk over the possibilities. There's a lot of affordable options and some good opportunities and some really good trainers here, so come check them out.
Good night and God bless.
Oh, I'm sorry.